So you want to travel Greece. Well, when planning your trip, you first have to decide what islands you want to visit. From Mykonos to Santorini, to Milos and Crete, and so much more. There are a ton of islands here in Greece to choose from. Also, if you guys haven't subscribed yet, make sure to do so for weekly travel vlogs. And follow me on Instagram as well to see all of the photos I take on these trips. So let's start off with going over the pros and cons of some of the main places to help you decide where you want to go. Let's start off with Santorini, since that's probably the most popular island in Greece. The pros include the amazing caldera views, unique hotels like the cave hotels that you see all over Instagram, lots of things to do from visiting Akrotiri, going on boat trips, and more. You can actually check out my full Santorini travel guide for a full breakdown of all of this. The cons include that it's expensive and it's super crowded in peak season. Next up, we have Mykonos. The pros include that it is a fun island with so many spots to party. It has a ton of amazing shopping for clothes, art, and more, and there's amazing waterfront restaurants. The cons include it is very busy and loud at night due to all the partying places, and there's more tourists than locals, so if you're looking for a really authentic Greece local feel, you might not get that here. Moving on to Milos. The pros include that it's a quieter island full of places to explore, and it has one of the most unique beaches you'll ever see, known as Serekiniko, and this is also a great place to watch Milos' stunning sunrises and sunsets. One of the cons include that you will need a car to get around here, or some mode of transportation. But do note, it doesn't take long to get to each place, it's just spread out a little bit, but you can check out my full guide for what I suggest to do on Milos down below. So next up we have Crete. One of the pros is that it is the largest island in Greece, and with that, it means that there's a lot more affordable hotel options and areas to visit. There's endless amount of activities here, from hiking to beach hopping, and a lot of famous archaeological sites. One of the cons is that since it is such a big island, you won't get that small island feel, and in some parts, such as Heraklion, where I visited, it does feel more like a big city. The next thing is that you will need transportation, so either rent your own car or hire a company, and some people say it takes a minimum of a week with a rental car to barely scratch the surface of the island. And make sure to note that if you do decide to rent a car, you will need an international driver's license, so make sure you figure that out at home before you go. Then here are some of the other islands that people suggest and what they are known for. I unfortunately didn't have time to visit any of these spots on my recent Greece trip, but I definitely want to go back and visit someday. Once you've narrowed down what places you want to go to, you're going to have to decide what order you want to do it in. Let's say you're staying in Athens, since people usually spend a day or two here when they first arrive in Greece, to see all the history that lies here. Now, Greece definitely takes some planning, since there are a lot of different routes you can take depending on what islands you want to visit. Here are some of the common routes as suggested by other travelers. As you can see, there are a lot of different routes you can take, and you can do these in reverse order as well. Another good tip, if you do feel overwhelmed and just want the trip planned for you, is to follow a group tour itinerary that you can find online. I will leave some in the description below. As for how long you should spend in each place, let's say you have 2 weeks. I'd suggest spending 2 to 3 days in each spot. Then larger places like Crete, you really could spend a long time there, as I had mentioned before. But for places like Santorini and Mykonos, 2 to 4 days, depending on how much time you want to relax and chill out, is good in my opinion. Now let's go over some of these routes in a little more detail. So let's say you decide you want to visit Mykonos, Santorini, and Milos, and you have 2 weeks and on average 3 nights in each spot, with 2 nights in Athens on your way in and your way out of Greece. You can really do this route either way, going to Mykonos or Milos first. To make the most out of your time, I would suggest flying, since a ferry does take around 5 hours, whereas a flight is just 35 minutes. We flew to Greece on Aegean Airlines, and they're definitely a good airline to consider, and they have a lot of flights to and from the different islands in Greece. Then once you are on either Milos or Mykonos, a ferry to Santorini is only around 2 hours, but do make sure to check the ferry schedule if you're going to be going in non-peak times, because the ferries don't run as frequently during the winter months. And in peak season, make sure to book your ferries in advance because they do fill up. If you're the type of traveler who wants to see a lot in a short period of time, you can totally do just 2 nights in each spot. And in 2 weeks, hit Athens, Mykonos, Naxos, Ios, Santorini, and Milos. With a route like this, some of your ferry rides will be super short, with Mykonos to Naxos only taking 30 minutes on a high-speed ferry, and Naxos to Ios taking an hour. Then once you arrive in your last island, either Milos or Mykonos, you can take a flight back to Athens and then home. If you guys want more details on what to do on some of the islands and how much hotels cost and the best way to get around, you can check out some of my other vlogs where I made full complete travel guides on Santorini, Santorini, Mykonos, Milos, and Crete. Alright guys, so that is it for my guide to traveling Greece. This is honestly such a fun and beautiful place to travel, so I highly recommend it. And of course, don't forget to follow me on Instagram to see all of the photos I took while I was in Greece, and you can subscribe as well and turn on the bell notifications to get notified for brand new videos. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!